Perfect, it's recording and we're set to go. Alright guys, welcome back to our session unit 2. Sorry for the latency, but the monitor was not helping me out. So today we're going to go over unit 2. So I hope you guys have finished unit 1, the flicks assignment. And I know some students were having trouble submitting. For some reason they thought that they just submit through their GitHub, like they just complete the project and make sure that they push it to their GitHub, but you have to go to your course portal and follow the submission guide so you guys can actually submit the assignment. So make sure you guys do that. And I will go over it again because I don't want that to happen, so that you guys don't have to use your excused late project because then otherwise you're not going to have any more left. So let's go over today through unit 2. So today we're going to go over flicks part 2. And today's session or presentation is going to be very short. So I'm going to go through this quick so we can start in the assignment for today. So what you guys are going to be learning today is how to pass data. And you're going to learn how to do this through your flicks assignment that you've already completed. And what we're going to do is essentially for every time that a user clicks on a cell, on a table view cell or a collection view cell, they will be passed into a different view, which it will show like only the selected movie that the user has tapped on. So we're going to learn how to pass data from one view controller to another view controller. And we're going to do an in-class assignment in which I will show you how to do all that, and then you guys will do the same, but with the table view cell. So, and I will show you guys how mine works so that you guys have an idea of how it will look like in the end of your project. So next we're going to go over submitting assignments like I said before. Oh, not yet. Make sure you follow the instructional videos that are on the GitHub assignment. They will help you out tremendously because later on, if you don't understand what the videos are going through, you will struggle with the Twitter and the Instagram projects because those are going to be more like your own learning base. So they're going to give you all the code and they're going to document everything what the code does. For example, this authenticates a user, this does that, and it's going to be your job to implement that into your own project. So make sure you guys listen carefully to what he says in the instructional videos because these engineers know what they're talking about more than I do, especially since I've only learned iOS for a couple of months and these guys have been working on iOS for years. So make sure you guys understand the material because starting next week, it's going to get a little bit more rough. You're going to have to start implementing the code and understand it yourself by reading the documentation and also understanding parts of the video that they don't include. There's still going to be videos, but they're going to start being less detailed about every project that you do. So they're going to, if you want to do extra things or bonus code on your assignments, you're going to have to work hard in order to improve your own iOS development skills. So now we're going to go through submitting assignments. I want you guys to look at this again because some students were getting emails saying, oh, I submitted my project, I finished, but I got an email saying that I didn't submit it. And I'm like, did you submit it through the course portal? And they said, no, where do I do that? And I sent them this GIF again so they can make sure that they know where to submit. So please guys, if you guys don't know where to submit your assignments, it's through your course portal. There's even a link right here that says submitting coursework, and it will tell you step by step how to submit the assignment. So I don't want to keep going on with that, but I hope you guys remember that you have to submit your assignment through the course portal. And if you modify it or you implemented something else into it after you submitted, resubmit it again so that the changes can take effect in our system so that we know what to grade. Because whatever you submitted, that's what it's going to pop up on our grading system. So if you make changes to it, it won't detect it. You have to resubmit. Alright, next deadline for next assignment. I know I gave you guys an extension for this week since it was we had MLK Day, but next week there is no day off next Monday, so please submit before midnight of the next section, which is Sunday midnight, this Sunday midnight, okay? And remember you guys, there's a discussion forum. I've been getting a lot of emails, and I sent them links of the discussion forum where it talks about the problem that they sent me through email, just so that I can let you guys know that obviously these are questions that have already been solved on our discussion board. So please make a good use of it. I've only seen like 2 or 3 students use it because I get notified when one of you students posts something on discussion, and so I know if you guys are actually on it or not and asking for help there. Or if not, then I'm glad that you guys are understanding the material or looking for help through your other peers. So that's another good resource. And but please make sure to use this resource. It's a really good tool because if I respond to you with a link of the discussion forum, that means that you didn't go on it. All right. So we're gonna go recap of what we did last week. So I taught you guys how to go through the course portal. We went to the assignments tab, and that's where all assignments are going to be located at. You can submit them through there, through your course portal. You can look at the syllabus. There's guides on how to go through the assignments in case you're stuck. And there's also a discussion forum that we have that we use in order to look up problems that we're stuck on. And make sure that you always update your GitHub README file. Because if you don't update that when you make changes to your project, like let's say you added a new feature and you submit it, but you forgot to update your README, we're not going to look at your GIF throughout the whole thing. Probably not. Because maybe sometimes it's a feature that you can't see it visually. So if you added a new feature, make sure you add that on the README file, and we will give you bonus points for that. So just to clarify that, because I noticed that some students added like a feature when there's a network error, like when the Wi-Fi is gone or there's no connection, it'll give you an error saying like, oh, there's no internet, cannot retrieve movies. And I was like, oh, well, you didn't put it on the README, so sorry about that. And they didn't update their GIF either. So make sure you guys implement everything that you do extra. Yeah, question?
If we did the bonus user story where we just run it on our phone.
Oh, for that bonus story? Yeah. I had questions about that. Just upload a link on YouTube or something of your phone recording. Like you recorded from your phone. And make sure that we can actually see the phone like playing around with the Flex app.
Should I still upload it since it's after the due date already?
No. But at least you know how to do it now, right? You know how to install an app on your phone, which is cool. So that's it. But next time, if you want to do that, you guys can do it. And just make sure you upload a link of a video. It can be a GIF or a YouTube video link. I know some students did a YouTube video, and they uploaded their assignment. The bonus stories, they uploaded it to a video on YouTube. Any other questions regarding that? Okay. So next we're gonna go through reminders. So we're gonna wrap up. That was pretty much it for the presentation today. Pretty quick, right? So we're gonna work on lab today, and I'm gonna teach you guys how to pass data from one view controller to another view controller. And I'm gonna have you guys. I sent you guys on the starter project through the email the week 1 lab, which is the Tumblr, so that you guys have it already completed. And with that, I will have you guys, using what I teach you today, learn and also implement that into the Tumblr Lab. And then we're going to make sure you guys finish your homework before the assignment due date, and make sure you start early, because I noticed that when I checked on Sunday, like around 10 p.m., I noticed that not even half the students submitted the assignment. That really upsets me. So make sure you guys start right now, like starting today, because it gets me worried that, I don't know. I know we're used to like submitting everything like the minute before, but I don't know. It's my first time being on the other side, like seeing and checking how you guys submit everything last minute, and it is kind of scary, I have to admit. So make sure you start early, as soon as possible, and just let you know, I'm aware of who's submitting and who's not. So please make sure you keep on track of that, because if you guys want to learn something that you will never learn elsewhere, unless you pay, then you can be my guest. But this is free, so take advantage of it as much as you can. So is there any questions regarding everything? Has everyone marked down their attendance through the link? Yeah, question?
I haven't marked that.
Oh, here it is. So I put in the link. If not, I sent it, that same link. It's on your email. I sent an email yesterday.
Also, I have a question. So how long can I get the score of my assignment?
The what?
The score of my assignment.
Oh, the score, you should probably get them back by today or tomorrow,
Oh, okay.
depending on when you submitted it, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And yeah. And here's the code. The code is auto layout, so that you can put that on the code form. And make sure that you guys submit that form button, because I made my own attendance checker so that it automatically marks down who's present and who's not. So if you don't put your name right or you misspelled something, it'll mark you out absent. But I'll double check. Don't worry. So are there any questions regarding what we're gonna do today, or the past assignment, or resources? Cool. All right, let's get coding. So make sure I'll give you a couple minutes to start downloading the zip file that I sent you. Set it up Xcode, because I know that thing takes like a while to load, and we'll get started. So I'll start setting up mine too. Question?
I don't have the file, the link to download.
Are you one of the new students?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to see it.
Yeah, can you email some? Thank you, Derek. Alrighty.
Yeah, that's fine. Says that you need to start a project.
Yeah, I sent you guys a starter project. It contains a zip file, and when you unzip it, it'll contain this folder of 2 projects that I sent you.
So which one?
Today we're going to open up the navigations practice. And I'm going to show you guys what you guys will be doing for today also, so you guys have an idea of what you're going to be working on today. It's running right now. In the meantime, I'll open up this. So this is what you guys will be working on today. It's the, let me make it smaller. It's the Tumblr Lab. And for the bonus challenge today, I'm gonna show you guys how to do the headers on each table view. So it shows like this little pretty, like user, cool looking text, all that cool stuff. And when you click on it, it should take you to the picture and show you like that specific picture of it. So that's what you guys will be working on today. Cool. So, did you guys open up the navigations practice project? Everyone good to go? All right. So, I don't know if you guys noticed from the email that I sent you guys about the how to send information, but today we're going to learn about different ways of passing data from one view controller to another view controller. And let me see the guides. Where are the guides? Wow, they took it off. Okay. I know it's guides. Navigation. Oh, never mind. Whatever. So I'll show you guys through the Xcode. So there's 3 different ways in which you can pass on data, and today we're just going to go over 2 of them because the other one, there's a lot of code to implement into it. But today we're going to learn about segues, and the first one is modal segues, and the second segue is called just a show segue. So we're gonna start opening up our project, and I'm gonna show you how to implement segues in each and one of them. So if you guys can open up your storyboard, and I want you guys to go along with this with me. It's pretty simple. There's not too much coding involved, so this will be simple. And if you don't have a computer, you can work with someone else. So we're gonna implement a button, that will trigger a segue, so that every time that you tap on it, it'll take you to a different view controller. So if you can just look up a button from the library, we can drag and drop. And I'm going to call this button normal seg or show segue. I'm just going to make it look big. And I'm going to copy. So if you guys want to learn how to copy and paste, it's the same thing as when you do it when you're homework, when you copy from your friends. You click on it, you copy it, and then you paste it. Easy. And you just drag it wherever you want. And this one, I'm going to call it modal segue. I'll just have them right here in the middle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create another view controller, and I'm going to drag it over here, and I'm going to copy and paste that, and oh, it doesn't let me. Alright, I'm going to create another view controller so that it shows me something else on this one. Perfect. Can you guys see that? It's kind of hard, huh?
Can you repeat the last step, please?
Oh, yeah. So you go on the view controller, on the library, and you search up for the view controller. And it's the first option that pops out. Yeah. So everyone good so far? Perfect. And then I'm going to add an image over here on top. So you go in your library, and you search up an image. And I'm going to drag that and drop it in the middle here on top. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the different segues, what each one does, and how it presents the segue to the user, and we're going to pass on this image into the next view controller. Alright, so since we don't have an image, I'm just going to make the background picture of this, the background image of that. I'm going to change it to something like green or dark blue. I'll just use green so that it can show, because if you just leave it as gray, it won't show anything image. And I'm going to go ahead and copy this image. Whoa, what the heck? And I'm going to paste it over my view controllers over here. And I'm going to change the color back to the gray one so that we know that when we run this, there will be no image on it, and I will show you how. And I'm going to copy and paste that over here as well. So you guys good on these steps so far? So I have 3 image views. These are gray, or in other words, default for the background. So they don't have any color. So that means when you launch your application, it won't show anything on it. Everyone good? Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add the segue functionality to each of the buttons that we have. So let's go ahead and add, on the show segue, I'm going to control and drag into this view controller right here. I'm going to let go, and you're going to see a couple options that you have here. So in this one, I want a normal show. So it's going to be a show segue. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this action segue called show. Bam. And it's connected now. I don't know if you guys can see that little arrow. There you go. That means that it's connected through segue. And for the modal segue, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to control and drag to my other view controller. And in this one, I'm going to select present modally. And then you guys just tap on it, and you're done. They're connected now. So let's launch them and see what happens.
First one is which one?
The first one is a show.
Yeah, I mean, always show.
Yeah, and the other one is modal segue. So I'm going to go ahead and launch it. You don't have to launch it with me, but try so that your project is like good. Maybe I messed up on when I send it to you guys, but hopefully it still runs. So I'm just waiting for it. Perfect. So we have our application running, and dude, oh shoot, I'm gonna run it again because you guys weren't able to see that. Let me change the background of this. I'm going to change the background. You don't have to do this, but just to show you guys what happens. So my show segue is going to be all dark blue, and my modal segue is going to be, we'll change it to like green, light green. Alright, so I'm going to run this again so you guys can see which one's which. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on the show segue, and you guys will see what happens afterwards. Bam. So that's what happens. That's how it pops up. And as you can see, there's no button that tells me to go back, but on a normal segue, it would show you the back button so that you can go back into the section that you were, like in the table views that I showed you from the Tumblr Lab. I'm going to rerun it again and see what the other one does. Oh, it presented the same. Never mind. Let me see what happened. Push. Present modally. Yeah. Oh. I know why. It's because we need to link them up on our application now. It's because since we created these view controllers, they don't have anything assigned to them. So we're going to have to create the view controllers so you guys can see what's happening. But if you don't assign them to a view controller file, then it's just going to present you a normal screen and you can't go back to it and you're stuck. That's how you would. This is in modal segues, so let me show you guys from the Tumblr Lab again so I can present the example. But did you guys notice how it presented the screen going up like that? That is modal segue. That is supposed to be the modal segue. The one that the Tumblr Lab does, which it goes from, it pushes the screen like, let me show you, like this. That is supposed to be a show segue, a normal show segue. And there's differences. There's in terms of use, there are very key differences that you would use each one. Show segue, you would use that for stuff like tweeting, or like when you click on a file and you want to see details on it. That's when you would use show segue. When you want to use a modal segue, who can give me an example of when you would use modal segue? Because the normal segues, this is what it does. It gives me a back button. It gives me the option to go back to it. But the modal segue, it doesn't. It just presents the screen, and that's it. So what do you guys think modal segues are used for?
Like logging in?
Yes. Logging in.
Confirming a payment?
Yep. Confirming a payment. It'll just show up the confirm, and bam, and it'll take you back to your normal screen.
But it's stuff that you have to do it before you can go, like, continue
Yeah.
go back to what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. So those are some great examples. So logging in, when you guys will create your Instagram page, you will use a modal segue so that when a user taps sign in, it'll present modally the home page of your Instagram feed. And the only way you can go back is by adding your own custom button that's called logout. And you will have to create the functionality for it and everything to take you back to the sign in page. But that's what modal segues are used for confirmation pages and also for logging in. Those are some of the common uses for it. But today we're just going to be using mainly the show segue because it's one of the most easiest to implement and one of the ways that would benefit for our current applications that we're using right now. So now I'm going to teach you guys how to pass data from one view controller to another view controller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another view controller in my controller folder, and I'm going to create a new file for it using the Cocoa Touch class. And I'm just going to call it details view controller. And make sure that it's a subclass of a UI view controller. If it doesn't pop up, you guys can just type it and it'll automatically autofill it. Question?
Which controller are we going to create in Cocoa?
What do you mean which controller?
We have 3 view controllers.
No, we're just going to create 2. And we'll make the 2 other view controllers the same. So they will, both of them will be a class of a details view controller. Yeah. So once you guys have that, we're going to go click next and just hit create. So now we should have our details view controller right here. And you guys can delete all this crap right here that you don't need. And now we're going to add functionality to our buttons from the segues that we had previously. So let's go back to our storyboard. And on your segues here, let's go ahead and open up our view controller, the normal one. And what we're going to do is I'm going to connect the buttons of the view controller. In this case, I'm going to click the show segue button. If you guys can see it, it's too small to be seen here, so I'm just going to go ahead and make you guys see it from here, the show segue button. I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop to my normal view controller. And I'm going to call that, oops. I'm going to create a function from that button. And in order to create an action, it already implements it for you. So when you drag and drop, you won't see outlet anymore. It'll show as action in here. Make sure it's action. And for the name, I would just click show segue. Actually, I think that will give you an error. Show detail. I'll call it show detail. And you just hit connect. And there you go. It should create a function that is triggered every time that the user taps on a button. And I'm going to do the same for the modal segue button. I'm going to drag and drop and create a function called show modally. Oops. Show modally. And there you go. We have our two functions created. So I will give you guys a couple minutes to implement that. You guys get on that part? Awesome. So now with button. Alright, so after you guys create the button, now we want to create the image that we're going to pass on to our other, we want to get this image right here and pass it on to the next segue. So we're going to connect our image view into our view controller as well. This image right here, I'm going to go ahead and connect it to my view controller, the normal one right here. I'm going to drag and drop. Whoops. There we go. And I'm just going to call it photo. There you go. So I have a photo variable outlet connected to my view controller. And now what we're going to do is we want to pass this photo into our other view controllers, right? So in order to do that, we're also going to have to connect these view controllers as well. So let's go ahead and connect these view controllers. So I'm going to click on the yellow top part, and then I'm going to the attribute inspector and make sure that the class, you set it to the details view controller. Perfect. And same with this one. Actually, to reduce the amount of work that you guys have to do, I'm going to go ahead and delete this view controller. And why won't you delete? There you go. And I'm going to just control and show the segue, the modal segue. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm just going to put it on the same view controller. So it has two connections, but either button will present differently. Sorry about that confusion, but it's less work. I realize that. So did you guys understand that part that I did? Okay, yeah, I'll repeat it. So I deleted the other view controllers, and what I did is I did the same thing from the modal segue button. I dragged and dropped into the other view controller that I still have, and I clicked on present modally. Everyone good on that part? Okay. So now that we have this view controller, I'm going to add the image to the details view controller. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the details view controller and drag and drop image view, photo detail. I'm just going to call it also photo. Cool. And I have a variable photo outlet connected to my details view controller, which is different than the view controller. So now I'm going to explain to you how you pass in items, elements, it can be either text, photos, images, whatever you want, from one view controller to another. And the way we do it is through variables. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our details view controller, and I'm going to create a var called photo passed. And this is going to be a UI image. There you go. So this is going to be the photo passed that is going to be passed from the normal view controller, and we're going to pass it on to our details view controller. And the way that you assign the photo that you're passing on, you're just going to call it through the view, the view did load. We're going to set the photo passed, the photo dot image equal to the photo passed. There you go. So now we need a way in which we can pass the photo passed from our view controller here. So we got to know how to connect that variable together between these two files, which are completely different, right? So we want to pass this variable from this one. So in order to do that, we're going to call the function in our buttons, and what we're going to do is there's a way you can do that, and the way you do it is through you create an override function. So you're going to override one of the built-in Swift functionalities, which is called prepare for segue UI storyboard segue. So it's the second option after prepare. Cool. And what you need to do in this function, we're going to override what's in it in order to customize what we're going to do to it. Because if you don't customize it, all it's just going to do is just pass you on to the next view controller, and nothing else is going to happen. So that's pretty lame. So we want to do something more interesting than that. So what we're going to do is we're going to set we need to tell Swift, or we need to tell this view controller, we need to communicate between these two. So in order to do that, I'm going to tell view controller, and I'm going to give him a friend, right? And this is going to be his new friend, the blue friend, this blue guy right here. And in order to do that, we're going to create his friend right now. So we're going to create the detail VC, which will stand for detail view controller. And I'm going to set that equal to segue.destination as detail view controller. So now we created his friend. I'm telling my view controller, hey, there's a guy that you can communicate with, and he wants to, stay in touch with you. So we tell our Swift, all right, what's my friend? His name is detailed view controller. So now we need to send, now that our view controller wants to send our blue friend, we want to send him an image. And how do we communicate? Well, we got to get the image that we currently have from our photo, which is set to a green thing, green background, and we need to get the image from our own view controller, and then we're going to send it to our other guy. Alright, so in order to do that, now we just need to call the photo, what do you call it? Oh, detail VC dot, and you can see already one of the variables that we created, which is the photo path, and that's the one that we're going to be messing around with. We're going to set the photo path equal to our photo.image. Does that make sense to you guys, what I'm doing so far? So this variable, photo path, if you guys can recall from our details view controller, we created a variable, photo path, right? Which it has nothing on it, but we know that it has to be a UI image. So in order to access this variable, we need to first create a, a variable from our view controller called detail view controller, and we set it equal to this file right here, this class. So now that we know what kind of class we're accessing, now we can access all the variables that are along this file right here. And we want to access this variable right here, and we want to change it. And what we're going to change it to, that variable, we're changing it to our own photo that we have in place, .image. If you pass on photo, it's not the same, because if you guys realized, photo is a UI image view, and in that view there's an image. In order to access the image, you need to call the photo and then use the method .image. This will access the raw photo of it. And we do the same thing here. In order to change the, we can't just say photo equal photo path, because UI image view is not the same as UI image. So we need to make sure that we're passing the right information. Perfect. So let's try out our application right now and see what happens. So if you guys remember when we ran our application, there was nothing displayed. There was it was all blue because the image was empty. So now we should see this green box on top. And it didn't work. Okay. Oops. Let me see one thing. I think it's because since we have two segues, it's going to get a little confused, but I'm not sure because when I did it, it was working. But I'm going to call this show. Let me check something real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the present modally. I'm going to delete it. And it's going to be show. Question?
What is the code supposed to call the function there?
Over here in my view controller, this one.
Yeah, what is that function called?
It's called whenever the segue is triggered. So I know that this button triggers the segue, and once the segue is triggered, then we are overriding what it does. And we're overriding it is we are overriding the view controller that it's going to show us, because if you don't modify it, it will just show you a blank view controller. Because you know that for every view controller that you have in this file, there has to be a class assigned to it. And if there is none, it will assign it to a default view controller, which is just a blank page. Nothing is on it. So what we're doing is we're customizing it so that we can tell what view controller is going to be. In this case, we're assigning it to be a detail view controller. So it's no longer going to show us a default view. It's going to show us this specific view with an image on it. And we're also we're accessing the variables that it has, the data it has, which is PhotoPath, and we're changing it to the image that we have in our view controller, which is this one. Let me try it again. Wow. Okay. Doesn't want to work with me. Let me check something real quick. Question? Yeah.
So we have a default image view on the new view that we made, but we didn't modify that, did we?
No. That's why there's no. When you guys saw, there was. Oh, it's not showing. There was nothing on it. It was all blue, but it's supposed to show a green box, which is the image that we're passing it to.
So, but I don't understand the way that we set it up so far. Where will that actually happen? Because it looks like, yeah, I'm just, I guess,
On when it happens.
yeah.
So where it happens is right here. And right here. So what this is doing right here, we're setting the variable, which is empty right here. On this detail view controller, it has nothing. This variable, it's not assigned to anything.
So
The only
variable
thing-
photo up there though, is that the
We're using it as a middleman.
okay.
We're using it as a person that will carry on what we want to give it to. So in this case,
I mean the variable photo, not PhotoPass, but photo.
oh, this one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's being assigned here.
But what does that represent?
This represents the image view. This
Okay,
one,
that image.
which is empty. Yeah. Oops. And let me just check something real quick where I messed up, because I remember redoing this. Oh, I see. Oh, what happened? No, I noticed where I messed up. So we have to assign it to the self.image view, because remember that we're overriding a function, and if we want to assign the photo, this is thinking it's going to get confused because we have two photos, right? We have photo here and we have photo here. So we need to make a reference of which photo we're accessing. And we're going to reference to self, which is the view controller that we're currently using. And now it shouldn't give us, yeah?
Can you just like to use a different name of two photos? Like
Yeah, I would recommend that. I don't know why I chose photos for both of them. But for now, now it should kind of work, at least. And, that's what I also forgot. So what we're going to do is we're going to call it a function called perform and segue, right here. And you're going to you're going to autocomplete it. And this will trigger this segue right here, the function, the segue. And in order to know which one we're using, we need to create an identifier for the segue here. So I called it, the identifier is called show, which is what I set it up to. And if we go back to our view controller, it's a string, so that's perfect. We're going to call it show. And we added that on our show detail function. So did you guys catch that? I think I went too fast there. Yeah? Alright. and here the sender is going to be nil. And hopefully it should work now. If not, it's probably because I'm using a background color, and I don't think it passes the background color as the same as it would with an image. Because remember, we're passing an image, and the image is empty, right? So if we're passing an empty image, and with the, I don't think it passes the attributes. In this case, one of the attributes is the background color, so I don't think it's actually passing the image. Yep, that's probably wrong. I'm gonna have to find an image. Hey man, pass in. Come on in. So I'm gonna go ahead and download this image. Oops. Let me go ahead and pass this over here. There we go. So I have this image right here. I'm going to go into my storyboard and set this image equal to code path. There we go. It's kind of ugly, but it should be there now. Don't worry about those steps. I just want to see if it works. There we go. So now you do see the image. So it was because of the stupid background color. It does not pass attributes into it. It only passes the actual image that we're carrying. So that segues for you guys. So did you guys catch that, what I did? I didn't do much. I just added that image. But you guys already have images from the Tumblr. And what you guys are going to be doing now is do the same thing. But the difference is I want you to access the specific cell. So this is where you guys are going to team up and use your research skills to learn how to access, how to call a specific cell that was tapped. So that's, you can use Google, you can, yeah, and there's a way you can do that. And we're going to do the same thing here. So instead of accessing our own image that is static that we have over here, this image is static, right? But in our Tumblr, we're going to have multiple, oh shoot, come on. Not that one. We're going to have multiple images in each cell. So what I want you guys to do, the difference between what we did here and what you guys are going to do is you guys are going to research on how to call the cell that was tapped. And once you have the cell, now you can access the image. And then you just pass the image to the other view controller. Cool. So get in pairs of 2 or 3. And I will be walking around and helping you guys out with it. And I have the instructions here if you guys are having some trouble with it. With the Tumblr Lab 2, passing data. So it's the same steps as we did. The only difference is that you guys are going to learn how to call the specific image from the selected cell. This is the only part that's different. Everything else is pretty straightforward. So get in pairs of 2 or 3. And let's get working. Download from the... If you guys need to go, it's okay, I understand. I know that you guys have a tight schedule. But for those that are remaining, I'll be here to help you. So you get, because I want you guys to learn all this.
Right here. That makes I didn't it has to be a string. So when you form a segue, make sure it's a string. Oh, okay. And this has to be nil. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Oh,
Thank you.
This will tell you what's going on. Usually you have to the class is not like compliant, show detail on the view controller. So what I think is going on is that there's a variable that's either misspelled or not created at all. So when you run this, it gives you the error automatically, right? Oh yeah, that's correct. Let me check. So we have our override pair. Did you modify this one right here? Show.
Yes, we should. Adjusted the string and show.
We have the destination as detailed view controller, and we have our detailed view controller. UI image. No. Photo path, photo that image. I'm trying to think. Now it's I can try to do it. But for sure it has to be with.
Oh.
I didn't know he was
Oh, never mind. This class is no value code. Show detail. Where is the show detail? This one right here. So there's gotta be something here. What we can do is let's comment this out for right now. And let's see what happens. So without the button though, I think it would it should say oh no.
I do know where the air was. I swear I had to go outside. This one I had to go to towards the entrance and then weird. And then, yeah, it is. And then I guess the plug
When they give you this kind of error, usually they're very vague about it. So I just go to it. I downloaded a project. It's caused by the second view controller. I think class controller is the second view. Whoa, never mind. Where's the detail controller? UI view controller. Nos vemos. Changing to the correct class resolves the problem. Bad output.
Yeah.
Yeah, either remove or rename an outlet as .h file.
I was like, man, that's
Or
the
you've
thing.
got storyboard. So check the outlets. So there's definitely got to be something with the yes, with the outlets over here.
Let's double check.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to get downstairs. Do you want me to show you like the stuff I did?
Yeah.
It's like just how does it work?
Oh, I have to mention
I kind of don't want anymore.
So I just follow the same one.
So I think that's the thing.
Okay, sorry, it's kind of weird. It kind of works.
I'm
Just kind
I don't know why very
Where you might
specific.
kind of like go with F.
My generic, it just goes to generic devices.
Oh, another
It doesn't go to like the
So
other.
heck, yeah, that one's kind of funky. Well, I mean, you were able to implement it and it doesn't crash. That's better than nothing. And what was the other one?
Yeah, right, basic, maybe general, like that.
So those names. That's it.
Oh, here
There
it
you go.
is.
Perfect. What's your name, man? It is Matthew.
Is that just a version of the iOS that's running? I think it's on the phone, right?
Am I supposed to give you like my GitHub or something?
So I'm gonna add you to the class. So you can fill that up for me.
Oh yeah.
Hey, so we're new to this class, we're Jackson's friend,
Oh yeah.
and
And you emailed me, right?
Oh,
Oh yeah, he told me that he was going to tell you guys about the
Cause I was
project.
like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you guys do them?
We did the, what version did we do?
I just like 1.2, I was like, I didn't even pay attention or something like that. I was like, wow.
I had that error for the longest time.
Really? And I just like, so like every time you do something, I just don't love it. I didn't build it.
Yeah, it does change, but okay.
Just put add.
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch
If that's correct, then yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
And that should be it.
Yeah.
Alright,
You're in,
take
man.
care.
What's your name again?
Matthew.
Matthew.
And it was perfect. How do you pronounce your name? Memo. You can just call me Memo. Yeah.
Yeah, and it only happened when I changed this to stream format. But when I do the simple way, the bracket, the parentheses,
Mhm.
it's
It works better.
yeah. But when I do stream format, it shows the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, don't worry about it. As long as it's working. Can you see working? Yeah. That looks perfect to me. Cool. Yeah, I'll add you guys in.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And what should we do to catch up with the whole class?
So I'll show you. Come over here so I can show you. So once you guys are added to the class, you guys came in a little late, but you will have access to the website. Did you see in the presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to have access to this website, and this is where you can access all the assignments. So right now, Unit 0 was a pre-calculator. Unit 1 is Flicks, which I do want you guys to do this and turn it in. And then right now we're in Unit 2, which is the same project, but now you're going to be learning how to pass data. And I will send the video of I can send you guys the video of my lectures from last week's.
Okay.
So you guys can catch up. In case you get confused, you guys can like look it and then see where you're stuck and use it to get help. Yeah.
And we get access to all the PowerPoint you use.
Yeah. I'm also uploading these, so I have the links on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What about the PowerPoint? Where can we access the PowerPoint?
I'll send them on the email too.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll send
So
everything through the email.
Oh, so every week you'll send a starter code and PowerPoint to our email. Oh, okay.
Every day after class.
Oh,
Every time after class.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So can you guys just add your names?
GitHub plugin. What's this?
Your GitHub username.
Let me check.
Or you can do yours. Do you know yours?
Where? Oh.
Your GitHub? Do you have a GitHub account?
Yeah. My username?
Yeah. Do you know it?
I think.
Okay.
So your username will be
Yeah.
CD Qual.
Okay.
And then your GitHub. if you know it right now.
Oh.
Yeah, that's your first name. Yeah. Cool. I'm just gonna add you. There you go. So go on courses.codepath.com like that. And you should be able to have access now to the class.
Course.
Yeah, right there. And sign in with your GitHub. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
You have access now. Okay.
Thank you.
And your GitHub.
Maybe because it doesn't have the connection to the capture. Like maybe it's supposed, like the other one is attaching to some.
Oh no, I have another question about like how to use the Xcode.
Yeah. What is it?
So it's like, so when I listen to your lecture, you switch from like screens very fast. But I like.
How do I switch between screens?
Yeah, like, because you want this view controller to be like associated with the details view controller.
Yeah.
So
Oh, what you do is you just click on the view controller.
oh
Oh, let me connect that.
Yes, because I had a problem with that.
You go on your view controller, and right here. This tells you what kind of class it is, which is this detailed view controller.
but I already did that.
Yeah.
And what happened?
And then so when I
restart everything, I was like,
click on this, it's still like when I do double ring, it automatically pop up
Oh yeah, sometimes it doesn't automatically pop it up.
to the side. Cause how do I like when I have three part of the screen? How do I drag this detail view controller to
There,
yeah?
Alt, and then you click on it. Oops. There you go. Oh wait, what? Well, I think your keyboard might be weird, but mine, that's what I do. It's a default. What I do is I just click on the Alt, and then I just click on the file that I want to show, and then it'll show me that file.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's how I do it quickly. Because sometimes the assistant editor might take longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything.
You have to do it manually. If you want to do it manually, you can go here on the automatic. You see this part right here? You go on manual, and you go on Tumblr, and here you have all the files that you can show. And you can click on the like menu. Yep. Folder. Yep. View controllers. There you go. And you can do it that way. Or you can just do the Alt.
Yeah. But somehow it goes to the middle.
Yeah.
my
Well, you have like 3, so if you hold Alt, it doesn't know which one. I think that's why it was giving me an error, because when I hold it. Oh, never mind. It does change it now. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now it changes it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine then.
Yeah. Thank
Did
you.
you check if you have? Oh yeah, you're all on it. Okay. So yeah, I will send the videos and the slides to you guys.
Thank you.
Of course.
The cell, that's it. The fact you remember back to the yeah. If you select it, yes, if you select the thing, or at least not. Right. So I'm thinking, yeah, you want to stay in the
I'm just trying to like connect
yeah, so the weird thing about it is that
So now I'm connecting
that I was asking to you. I'm 20.
Did you figure it out there?
No, I'm still trying to figure it out right now. Yeah. See? Another option. Maybe I missed something.
Oh.
This one, it already showed the table stuff, the table view.
So
Oh, okay.
go back to your it's gonna be this one. So if we open up the
It's like when you run it. Yeah, but yeah, I have to say yeah. I would think so, yeah.
So we can open up. Can you set it up?
Maybe
There's another tab you can URL in
like
the
this.
picture and it shows you the output.
Because you make this one as an outlet, maybe this one has to be in action. So if you
So see
click
right here, it shows
yeah,
the
connection.
oh right here.
The center shows you like the cell.
It's connected to
So then based on the cell, you can like find this index file.
So what we do is
You get the index file, you can just
segue
Yeah,
remove that index.
Probably because of the
we
connection
attach it
outlet. We could see if you can change it. Change it to action.
to it. Now,
No, see?
okay, so it's looking nice, right? There's nothing missing.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
So I'm just gonna make that other photo so like.
You have to put the identifier for the
Yeah,
message.
okay. Sometimes I still don't know what's the difference between variable versus outlet. Like sometimes I see when you, because they both variables, but yeah, one's constant, one's not.
You know what we can do?
Okay.
Since it happened right after the long state video,
Oh, okay.
what we can do is let's retrace our steps.
How do you get this?
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna delete this color, or we can copy
The
it
other one, the only
and we can
difference is
have
the
it
other
for
one
later
button.
and see if it runs without
It's
this.
supposed to be like a green and
Now we're
black,
gonna
but it's
keep going back.
Yeah.
They just like
Retracing our steps.
covered in this, that's how
No.
I'm
So it has to be an error,
And then another.
there has to be something going on here. Let me check the connections of this one. Right here.
You second?
It's missing the button from this one.
No, not yet.
What we can do is,
I'm trying to do the function.
whoops.
That's how I do it. I would go, but then if you overlay your button
So
over
the
the
sender
image,
is
like unless if you constrain it for the button size to make it go to the image size. But then like would you see the button?
Yeah, but
Like that's how I would do it. I would choose it just
Yeah.
like, oh
Yeah.
yes,
layer on
this image is after this image acts like a button.
What's that image?
That's not thinking too, like I don't even know how.
I'm just gonna clear this
Oh,
out.
Except it's like transparent.
So I'm gonna take out the
Yeah, the picture's a little wonky.
I just like how it all works. Doesn't
And let's just see if it runs at least now.
I'm not quite sure what the image view should be doing.
If not, then it's gonna be that one that we can delete. Oh, perfect. Cool, so now we have it up and running.
Because
So
technically,
this one doesn't
we
really
went
matter.
over 1, 2, 3 in class, right?
So now what we
And
can
was
do is
specifically,
we can re-add
now
that
it's deselecting, so.
view controller, and now we can drag and drop again.
I already started doing this, so
Getting
it's
the
like,
cell,
Oops.
after that I deleted the video.
so like, right here, this is literally what you
Perfect.
do. You just get,
Now we should
yeah,
have
I
something
like that
at
they
least.
do on the actual,
Slow and like.
it makes so much sense.
ABC.
Yeah,
There you
I like it too.
Yeah.
Okay, so the error
Cause it's
was
funny, cause like
that
right before the
The issue was that because it was my fault, I made you guys like delete
That's so like,
afterward, you know how
yeah,
you delete
because
another
I said that we were
controller?
helped you.
So what happened was that
Like,
where am I
this
supposed to
segue, this button was connected to the other view controller, but it didn't delete the connection. The output was triggered.
Yeah, me too.
So
I'm
the
gonna
connection,
drive
what,
around
like,
this. I'm gonna try to do
it didn't delete this one, or
So
the
I guess
other
like
one
you have
either.
like
Yeah,
the
that's
inverter.
Yeah, this, I gotta rewatch it. I have
Yeah, what
I'm
happened was
like,
that there's nothing to show. The
I
button
mean,
had a
he was
function,
doing it, makes
but it
sense,
couldn't
but I'm
perform
like,
it correctly because
Yeah.
it wasn't prepared. So when it
I was
compiles,
like, alright.
Okay.
it was automatically gonna give you an error.
And then-
Because there was
Yeah,
nothing to show.
Alright, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, I just had a question,
Well,
what's
this
like the correct like way to go
Just
about
the,
like defining public
Yeah.
value?
Just
I
run
mean,
it
I
on
just said it
public.
as like a.
Or, yeah, on the
this is,
simulation, sorry.
the cleanest way to do
That was
it.
all I needed.
Because it says,
You, if you wanna,
so like this is like a value that I want my segue to
I tried to make it
yeah,
more
so this,
simple.
you're
I
gonna
might
set,
switch
oh, this is
between
why I
Monday,
did last time,
Tuesday,
yeah, you're setting the
kind of
URL
on my schedule.
using the set image with the, oh, guys, yeah, that's smart.
Did you just do the Tumblr picture directly?
Yeah, I just put the
Okay.
image, I did it differently, but this is how I did it at first, but what you're missing is this.
It worked actually.
Oh. Oh, well, if you wanna do a public variable,
Doing it Sunday
then
nights.
you can use
I
a
actually did it early.
static, and that way you wouldn't have to deal with memory issues.
Okay.
I
But
did 1 or 2
this is
videos.
fine.
And then
Thank
I
you.
started, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, man,
that's
take care.
And then the longest one.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
So like, So I did this where I connected this with the detail class, and then this whole cell I have it where it shows this, and then I'm kind of confused what I'm supposed to do next, like where I'm supposed to type prepare thing.
Yeah, the override function. So you have to type it. It's called override func, and then the prepare.
Okay.
Prepare for segue. I'll show you guys right now actually, since we're running out of time.
I'll just watch.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's go through the setting up the segue using the Tumblr real quick. So, oh, it's over here.
Does this start already on YouTube also?
Yeah, I'm also uploading everything on YouTube. There we go. So let's go over the first steps. So first we need to add our view controller, right, and connect it. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to create a view controller, and I'm going to go ahead and add it here. And that is going to have a, I'm going to connect that later, and it's going to have a UI image in it. So I'm going to go ahead and add the image. So you guys have that ready, right? Perfect. I'll just drag it because I don't have time to set the height. And now I'm going to go ahead and connect it. I'm going to create a new file, and it's going to call details, photo details. Perfect. I'm going to go back to my storyboard and check the photo details view controller, and here I'm going to add this image view. Oh, I need to connect it. Yep, cut that one. Photo detail view controller. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and build that. I'm going to drag and drop. Oh, drag and drop this image right here. And make it small. Wow, that's all we can go. Okay. So now that it's connected, I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop the image. I'm just going to call it detail image. Perfect. So now that we have that connected, now we have steps 1 and 2 completed. That was quick, right? Now we're going to go ahead and embed the photos inside a navigation controller. So I didn't go over that step with you guys. So with navigation controllers, it's on the steps. You guys were able to check it here. But what you do is you click on your main view controller, and you go on your editor, and you're gonna hit on embedded in navigation controller. So you guys would there's the course portal showed you that. It's pretty simple. It's just that step. That was pretty much it. Nothing too much. And now we're going to add we're gonna pass the image, this image from this cell to our photo details view controller. So in order to do that, now we just need to set up the segue. Oops, not the cell. I need to select the cell. So make sure you guys, when you're doing this, you select the cell and not the image, because they're different. Because when you guys work on the Twitter and the Instagram, you're going to work with a lot of other things. Like each cell is going to have multiple buttons inside it. Each cell is going to have a text, a profile picture, and it can do many things. So for example, on Twitter, if you click on the profile picture, it'll show you the profile of that person on Twitter. Otherwise, if you click on the tweet, it'll actually just show you the comments and everything else that's going on from that tweet. So, but in this case, we're just going to select the whole table view cell, and we're going to drag and drop and show. Perfect. Oh, and the reason why I wasn't showing the back button is because I didn't have the navigation controller. Yeah, that's my bad. That's why I wasn't showing anything. You need a navigation controller to handle all that. Question?
So the navigation controller like stacks the images and allows that back button to come?
it allows the view controllers to go back and forth. That's why it's called navigation controller. It controls the navigation essentially. That's all it does. So it gives you that option. It automatically creates that back button for you. That's why it didn't do it on the other one that I showed you. Okay, perfect. So I created the segue connection between these two. So now we're going to go ahead to get the image from the selected cell. So let's go on the Photos View Controller. And we're going to create the function right here below the get post. And we're going to create the override func prepare for segue. And here's where it's going to get pretty funky. Not too much. So same as the last part that we did, we're going to call our photo view controller. I'm going to call it photo detail VC equal to segue.destination. So this is all the same thing that we did from the other part. Nothing new. Photo view controller, right? And now here comes the tricky part. You guys have to know this. I had to learn it. Not even the course, the code path. The way they did it was kind of weird, and it was a lot more code. And with the way I figured it out through Stack Overflow, it's hella easy. It's just one line. So you get the cell, and this is how you get the cell selected. Oh, not photos. The table view cell. So this function right here, this gets the cell that was tapped. That's it. There's nothing else to do. This is the game changer right here. This is how you get the cell that was tapped. Now that we have the cell that was tapped, we need to access the image. What I did last time, and what he did last time as well, he accessed the URL, and then he called the function the set AF image, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the image directly. So the way we're going to do that is like how we did in our other exercise. We're going to set the image equal to the cell dot photo image view dot image. That's how you access the image of the cell. But same thing as last one, right? The only difference is that it was a static image view, but in here it's going to be the image view of the cell. So that's how you access the image. Now we're going to go and communicate with our other view controller that we're sending the data with our friend. So we're going to tell our friend, hey friend, I have this this image I'm going to give you. So wait, did I set the other image view already? For the photo detail? Oh, I did, detail image. Oh, but then I didn't create a variable. So we need to create our var image, UI image. Perfect. And then in here, I'm going to set the detail image dot image equal to image.
Did you do that? Like, did you access it directly from the other one? Like from the segue? Couldn't you call it detail image and then access its image attribute?
That's what we're doing. Oh, no.
Like,
It doesn't allow you to access attributes, outlets. It doesn't allow you to access attributes. That's why we use variables. Because variables function as like the middleman between this view controller and our other view controller. That's why we need variables. Because I tried doing that and it gave me a bunch of errors. And because also I had that error because I had photo and photo image. And so I was getting confused. I was like, wait, why am I getting an error? And it was because I was calling the outlet instead of the variable. So I was really confusing myself with all that. But make sure you guys distinguish your variables and your outlets. So in this case, our variable is image. And this is going to function as our middleman between this view controller and this view controller. And now we just set the detail image view, the outlet, equal to the image that we're passing, which the middleman is going to be handling. So now that we have that, now we just need to sell that image photo detail VC dot image equal to image. Perfect. So what we just did here, what's going on? Has no member image. There's one right here.
You casted it as the photo controller.
What did I? Oh wait, no. What did I call this?
No, in your segue, when you casted this,
This one?
the first time.
The first
It
line?
should be photos, photo details.
Here?
Instead of photos.
Oh, photo details. Thank you. Nice. Okay, that should work. Build, come on. There you go. Perfect. Thank you for catching that. Awesome. So simple steps. We call the view controller that we're passing on information to. We get the cell that triggered the tap, and then we access the image of that cell by using cell.photoimage.image. This is how you access the actual image. And we set that as a variable. And then using the middleman from the other view controller, this is our middleman. We're going to be like, hey man, here's the image. So we're giving him the image from the cell that was tapped. Cool. So let's see if this worked. And as you can see, everything is fine. No errors, no crashes. Bam. There you go. It worked. So that was it, 10 minutes. So once you guys get more proficient, you should be able to, this is like easy peasy, like piece of cake. And I want to show you guys really quick, don't leave yet, just how to add the headers. It's really easy. I'm not going to type the code because we're running out of time. So I'm going to show you where to find it. It's really easy. We go to courses.codepath. If you go on the lab 2, it'll show you right here at the bottom. You can copy and paste all this. The only thing that you guys need to add is the following. So you're going to add another function to your table views. It's called table view headers. Where is it? I can't find it. No. Let me look at from mine. It's called so first you need to add sections. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new function, a couple new functions. It's the sections, which is going to represent how many headers each cell is going to have. And in this case, it's just going to be one section for each cell, right? And each section is going to represent the header. So we're going to go ahead and add the table view, and it's called the number of rows in section. So we're going to modify this one. It's going to be 1 now because each section is going to have one section, right? But now we need to modify how many each section, how many cells is going to have. In this case, it's also going to be 1. But we're editing this post equal to the section index path dot section instead of dot row. And we need to create a function that allows us to tell how many sections there are per each cell. And I'm just going to call it func number of sections. It already has it there built in for you guys. And you're going to return post dot count. Cool. So do you guys understand this part? So we have sections now. We're not doing it by row. We're accessing each cell by, I'll show it to you guys visually instead. I think it's better to do it that way. But I'll show you guys once we finish this section. Once we add the sections, now we go into our did select row at, nope, never mind. We need to add the, so when we create our table view, our header, we need the table view header view for header title will display header height for header. So this is how much space the header is going to have between each cell. In this case, I'm going to make it 64 pixels. Or in this case, Swift uses CG float, but it's just like pixels to them. Same thing as that. So it's going to have a height of 64 pixels. So that way it's not going to be like a flat section. We want to have some space in between each section. And after we add that, we're going to have to add the table view for header. So this is where we do the for header. There you go. And this is where you copy and paste all that code that you saw from CodePath guides. So I'm going to copy and paste it for you guys. It's a lot of code, so make sure you guys know what I add right here. So here it goes. Bam, it's hella code. Look at that. But you just copy and paste it from a code path. But I'm gonna go over it. So header view, this creates a view, right? Just as you normally do in the storyboards when you go on the view. All this white stuff, that's a view. So once we have that view, we modify around with it, and we make the background color white. We create a profile view for it, and in this case, it's going to be that little image, that bubble profile image, and it's just an UI image view. So we're basically doing everything that you would do in storyboard programmatically with code. Yep. And we just add the timestamp or the day that each post was created. And I just modified the font and the location of each item. So let me show you what it looks like right now. There you go. Look at that. It's pretty cute. So as you can see, the number of sections is the post.count. So this whole thing, I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is a section now. We're no longer using indexpath.row. We're using sections. So this is a section, and each section has I don't know if you guys remember from last week when we used when I showed you how to do the cities and the states. Mm-hmm. Each state had a certain amount of cities. But in this case, we're not going to do that. We're going to have each section have one post. And each post is going to be categorized by the timestamp that it was created at. And that's pretty much it. The rest is the same code. I just added like 3 functions, but the long part is this right here, all that code. But you guys can copy and paste this. It's not really hard to learn this part. This like you can play around with it, modify the text, modify the font if you want, or the location of the labels. I'm gonna send you guys to an email, so don't worry if you guys like got lost. I'll send you guys a completed version of it, so you guys can like copy and paste and follow with the video from YouTube. So do you guys have any questions now from everything that we learned?
You see the code that you just copied and pasted? Would that work? Would that kind of conform the layouts to different devices? So like
yeah, this is automatically laid out for you. So
if you ran on a different device, if you ran this on an iPad, the layout would still look nice? Is what I'm getting at, or no?
yeah. Well, I did the other part of it. So next week is when we're gonna actually start learning auto layout. My bad, it wasn't this week. We changed it. And next week I'll show you how to automatically adjust the layout for all your apps. But the header view, this is already auto layout. As you can see, the X and the Y, this represents how much space there's going to be between each section. So if it was on an iPad, it would be the same. If you had 55, that means that it would be 55 pixels away from the left side of the screen, right? So this is how it works. Y and X start at the top left. Y going up, positive, it goes down. So that's the funky part. When Y is positive, it actually goes down. And when X is positive, that's normal. It goes to the right side. And that's how it works. So as you can see, you'll notice some of the things here that X is 0. So we want it touching the margin. And the Y is like somewhat up. So that I can push it up in the middle. That's just positioning. You guys can learn that on your own. It's simple stuff. But the hard part is understanding how it works here. Using auto layout from these options right here. I will show you guys that next week. So, but right now you guys have the basics to start making like cool apps for a hackathon, pretty much.
When you program, do you tend to use the storyboard or do you program?
Storyboard? No, hell no. Programmatic, it takes forever, because you can have so many issues with it. Well, I mean, same here, but at least you have a visual, and when you run it, you can have dummy data, which is like data that you like create it, and just so that it can have like show something, because obviously no one is gonna have a full-blown functional application at the hackathon. That's what we do, and that's how we win. We make the dummy data, we do everything on storyboard, and we just be like, hey, this is what it's supposed to do, and then they're like, oh, can you show us? And they're like, yeah, look, it works, but it's dummy data. It's not real data. But that's the idea. What matters is the idea. It's not the actual like does it work? Because they know that we can make it work. If we put enough effort to show how it would look like, that's already good enough for them. And we've won just doing that. As long as you get a graphic designer and like 2 iOS engineers, you're good. That's what we do. That's our good set. So yeah. So that's it for.
Can do the headers just by using storyboard, right?
Oh no, for headers you have to use. You have to do it programmatically. Yeah, that's the only downside. So there are some parts that you can't do on the storyboard, like the headers. Everything else is pretty chill. You can do it. What you can do is, like for Instagram, what I did is I made space between each cell. For example, right here, bam, and then I just added like the text right here. Yeah.
Yeah, that was what I was wondering if you could just do.
Yeah, you could just do that.
The same thing, right?
Yeah, it's essentially the same thing, but
Would it be harder for like configuring for different device sizes?
Yeah, that's what I did.
you will run into a lot of issues when you do that, which is why I prefer doing it programmatically, the headers. For Twitter, you guys will see, you're going to struggle with that one because you're going to have to add so many buttons. You're going to have the retweet button, the like button, the message button, and if you want to customize the auto layout of it, it's going to give you so many issues, but it'll take a while. But you guys are good, don't worry. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to stop the lecture right now.